morning and welcome to the big story on Daybreak Live. Today we examine Governor Seyi Makinde's 2026 appropriation bill, a budget he calls the budget of economic expansion. At 891 billion naira, it is one of the boldest financial blueprints in Oyo State history. But beyond the figures, the big numbers and that lies behind the real conversation, what are the big steps this budget is taking? Where are the big gaps? And with rising citizen expectation, what does the future realistically look like? That's our focus this morning on the big story. And I am Samson Balogun. Now let's get into it. Yesterday's budget presentation did more than announce a record-breaking figure. It highlighted how far Oyo State has moved from the budgeting realities of previous years, especially when we benchmark the numbers before subsidy removal and after subsidy removal. Before the removal of petrol subsidy in 2023, states operated with tighter revenue, FAC allocation were moderate, budgets grew slowly, and expansion was limited. But after subsidy removal, monthly allocations to states increased significantly. In some months, by as much as 40 to 60%. This new fiscal space explains why Oyo State's budget has grown rapidly from around 710 billion in 2025 to 891.9 billion in 2026, an increase of 181.9 billion naira. And within this expanded budget, the sector-by-sector breakdown tells an important story. Now, let's go straight into education. In the year 2025, Oyo State government budgeted 74 billion naira. Straight down to 2026, we have 94 billion naira. That's an increase of about 20 billion naira. A push towards stronger schools, better learning environments, and deeper teacher support. All right, moving on to health. Health had about 45 billion naira in 2025, and down straight to 2026, it has been budgeted to be around 58 billion naira, an increase of 13 billion naira, reflecting rising demand for accessible, reliable healthcare across the state. And in the area of infrastructure and public works, that comes about roads and some other infrastructures. In 2025, Oyo State budgeted 270 billion naira. And in 2026, we have about 322 billion naira, an increase of 52 billion naira, showing continued emphasis on roads, mobility, and connectivity. In security, in 2025, Oyo State budgeted 14 billion naira. And going into the 2026 appropriation bill, they have about 17 billion naira. That's an increase of 3 billion naira, a measured response to the state's evolving security needs. And in agriculture, so many people have made some assertions about agriculture in Oyo State and how it has grown or how it has remained stagnant over the years. In 2025 budget, it has about 15 billion naira, and talking about 2026, it's about 23 billion naira. That's an increase of 8 billion naira, a strategic move to boost food production and reduce dependency on external supplies. So the big question this morning is clear. Does this expanded budget match the real needs of the Oyo State people? Are the big steps deep enough? Are the big gaps closing or widening? And can citizens expect real impact in 2026? That's the art of today's analysis. And of course, I have with me in the studio a stalwart of the APC to help us take an holistic approach and look into what is currently going on and what the appropriation bill presented by the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde at the Oyo State House of Assembly yesterday, what it truly means for the Oyo State people, and going forward, how is it going to truly expand the Oyo State economy? Samson Balogun is my name, and I have with me in the studio Honorable Omolaja Olaoye. Good to have you here this morning.
Good morning to you, Samson. Thanks for having me here today. And viewer home, I say good morning to you, and thank for watching us as well.
You saw the budget presentation yesterday.
Yeah.
On the floor of the House.
Yeah, I listened to it.
And you listened to the governor.
Yeah.
He made this presentation.
Exactly.
Billions and billions of naira.
Yes.
What would you say your holistic overview of what happened yesterday was?
Yeah. What we all want is a development for the state, Oyo State, and its citizenry. So that is what we expect. And really, the governor presented the budget that meant to the people of Oyo State. And he says so many things when it comes to this budget. We can see the analysis whereby you are talking about 891 billion, the budget of expansion, like he said, and he really talked dynamically on a lot of things, and which the people really need. But at the end of the day, the implementation, how is it going to work? Because we have not seen a lot of effect in the past budget that has been done in your state. So, I mean, when you are talking about the governor always talking about concentrating on education, and when you are talking about education, you have seen the dilapidated schools, and whereby the students are not even have enough chairs to sit down upon, and if not thanked for what the former governor of your state have done before in inviting a lot of the alumni that have been in the school before, who are doing a lot of wonderful things to help many schools. That is why you are going to see a lot of them developing. And when he was presenting his speech, he made the Oyo people to realize that this is going to be, he wanted us to be productive. He doesn't want Oyo State to be a consumption state. And with this era and with the presenting of the budget, I have not seen anything that really pointed to the fact that we are going to be productive, like you said.
You have not seen anything that will make Oyo State productive.
Yeah.
And can we briefly look into that? If you look at the current situation, let's the last administration, they call him the architect of the modern Oyo State. And during his time, there were a few companies that came to Oyo State and had an establishment, which created jobs for the people. And haven't you seen the same trend with the current administration in Oyo State?
I haven't seen the same trend currently. I mean, we are going to talk dynamically about what he said when it's come to this budget. He talks about Oyo industrial,
the industrial hub in Oyo.
Yeah, hub in Oyo, whereby Oyo industrial zone, like they said, it is an architect that has been in the system for a very long time. And during this present government, he has never mentioned that any other industry is coming to that axis. Probably there are new industries that have sprung up. He talks about Lagilu, whereby there is a cashew industry that was there. And when he went there, he talks about the person he knew, and the person was talking about raw materials. He was saying that he wants to create an avenue for the farmers to be able to access to the raw materials globally. What are we producing? Now, the last government of Lever Jumobi has really discovered that. We all knew that when you are talking about production, is about where you have advantage. He knew Oyo State has the largest, they can be able to produce cassava in Oyo State. And he works towards that. But he has some problem when he's come to land. The farmland, that is the problem. And he really identified that Oyo State are the major producer of cassava in Nigeria. And you know cassava is being produced in Nigeria is the largest producer in the whole world. When you identify this and you know what cassava can be able to bring to you, the kind of, it can be exported and it can be used for different raw materials. And when the last government of President Jonathan identified that you can use the cassava to make bread, this has been identified. So
you are saying the budget of economic expansion as stated by the governor of Oyo State is just a political label and not an actual.
What is he expanding? We have seen in the past that he has budgeted a lot for agriculture. But when it's this time around, how much does he budget on agriculture? It's about probably partly 19 billion. And we have seen in the past that he has budgeted like 35, 50 something billion on agriculture. And what are we producing?
The 2026 budgetary allocation now states agriculture to be around 23 billion from a sharp rise from 15 billion that we have. That's about 18 billion and an increase. Okay. That's a statement of intent by the governor.
According to, you can check it very well. I think agriculture should be around 19 billion. This time around, it was 19 billion. It was 19 billion. Definitely, you are talking about 2%. He said it himself. You are talking about, when you are talking about health was budgeted to be 7 billion. 7 billion, 70 billion, which is 70%, 70% of the budget allocation. So now it wasn't like 23 billion you said, it was 19 billion. And what the productivity lies in agriculture. What are we producing? He has mentioned so many times of Fashola's farm. We have been hearing Fashola's farm for a very long time. What is coming out of Fashola's farm for the last 7 years, he said? That is the question we have to ask, because the data doesn't lie. What is Oyo State producing?
Are you saying Fashola farm is inactive?
I'm not going to tell you that, but the fact still remains that what have they produced? What is coming out of Fashola farm is a question that needs to be asked by the citizen. And the government needs to tell us about that. It was telling us about the security architecture, like we knew all those Southwest governors came to Oyo State, Ibadan, to do that security summit. He was talking about how we can be able to see a place like Iwida or any other place in the plane, in the plane that is that is coming to Ibadan. Are they the one that is going to be on the ground to make a surveillance? Are they the one that is going to be able to give the account of what is happening? And we knew that the challenges we have with security has to do with manpower. It has to do with intelligent report, intelligent gathering. That is why the number one citizen in Nigeria have withdrawn all the police from the VIP. He said to them that anybody that needs any security apparatus, they are going to be able to keep NDDC. I'm talking about civil defense. And that is the work of civil defense that is supposed to do. Because intelligent gathering is what we need when it comes to security apparatus. And again, they are going to be on ground to be fighting to secure people. It is not the plane that returned all those 35 hostages in Kwara State. It wasn't the plane that was used to make about 50 students in Niger State return. We must be able to talk. Now, when you are talking about Amatekun, they are demanding to have that kind of status of being employed. They are still, they are disgruntled. What is Oyo State doing when it's come to that? We just don't want this flamboyant and a kind of coke and bull story when it's come to fancy presentation of body. That is what we needed. We need actions, and action needs to be done.
The budget has about 182 billion naira increase from that of the 2025 budget. The current appropriation bill, anyway, it's not yet a budget. It has not been passed on the floor of the House, but the governor has presented. Now, the sharp increase in the current appropriation bill to that of 2025 budget, do you see it as a potential positive for the Oyo State people, especially when it comes to these areas? You have spoken about how the government has, in recent years, been unable to make sure that they see through when it comes to budgeting. In terms of performance to budgeting, there has been a sharp difference. Now, for the 2026 appropriation bill that has just been presented, do you see a difference as against what we have had in the last 7 years?
The only difference I see is that Engineer Seyi Makinde has always been so particular when it's come to infrastructure that he said, but infrastructure, the part of it is the Oyo State governor's house that is about to be built, that is going to cost him probably Oyo State 64 billion naira. That's the
general renovation of the government house.
That is when you are talking about renovation, it's part of the infrastructure as well. It is part of capital expenditure that he was talking about. Now, roads are part of it, and he was telling us that a lot of roads that Oyo State have embarked upon are not new ones. Even in local government, it's always rehabilitation. And we need all those new roads to be constructed. That is why when we are going to know the seriousness of the government, it was always about rehabilitation, rehabilitation, rehabilitation. And when you are talking about rehabilitation, you cannot exactly know how, even all those roads, it is really work practice. It is normal practice that all roads the citizen must know the cost effective of the road. The kilometer, those who are handling the project need to be placed in a kind of particular board. And we have not seen, it is now strange in in Oyo State.
No, let me, I beg to differ on that. When David Umahi was discussing about the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, he was asked how much it cost for a kilometer. He did not say a thing. And Governor Seyi Makinde was one of those who attacked him at the time and said, look, it is easy for you to say, oh, it will cost us also amount of money. So it's more or less like the same with Governor Seyi Makinde and David Umahi of the APC. Isn't that so?
No, I think probably you misheard it. David Umahi specifically tell them how the average cost per kilometer.
That was after he was attacked.
No. He has been seeing it. He went to that particular TV station. He said he must brought up the calculation, and it was calculated. It was said average cost. When you are talking about the average cost, it cannot be more than that. If average cost is pegged to be 3 billion, it might be 2.9 billion, it might be 3 billion, it might be even 2.1 billion, but it should not be exceeding, it cannot exceed that 3 billion. But in case of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde has never put on board, I said it specifically, and any newspaper or any journalist can go and verify, like he said yesterday. If he has put the types of the job, the name of those people who is going to execute the job, and the kilometer, probably rehabilitation or reconstruction, and even how much that road is going to cost. He has never done that.
Is the governor
and
running?
It is standard practice that you must be able to place all those things or where the contract is going to be executed.
Now, are you saying the governor is running a government of secrecy?
Secrecy, like I'm saying. I am now saying it in public domain. I am well known, and I beg to be challenged.
Now, let me ask you this question. Of course, I want to say a few things. When you go to construction sites, the contractor name is usually there. The kilometer and the size of the project is usually there. Even the phone number on how to reach the contractor, most of the times will be there.
It's not there right now.
I want to ask you, is the Oyo State government doing the same?
They are not doing the same, I'm sorry. And mind you, again, any state government should be able to do the kind of the report, the analysis of cost of what is spending and advertise it in newspaper. It is standard practice. Or your state has never done that thing as well. I am ready to be challenged. I'm telling you this. It's a fact that is well known. When he was presenting that budget, he talks about Ladoke Akintola Airport. It is not in his own term, in Oyo State term. They can call it Ladoke Akintola Airport. It is that airport was constructed, like he said in 1982, by the federal government, not by Oyo State government. And mind you, he said it that you can imagine with all the money that Engineer Seyi said he poured on airport, it was close to be used when they are doing convention. For you to know that we don't have stake. Oyo State government by Engineer Seyi Makinde is just burning money there. Because federal government never asked him to do that.
But definitely, when you construct federal government projects, when you invest in federal government projects, you get reimbursed.
I don't know about that reimbursed when it's come to. I can talk about the road that leads to the airport, but whatever it does at that airport, I don't think we are going to be reimbursed for anything.
Isn't that part of the development you would be looking for as an indigenous, as a citizen of Oyo State?
I love the kind of development, but I cannot be a dreamer. In the sense that why I'm not going to be a dreamer. Southwest have gotten all the benefit in Nigeria.
Also,
Muritala Mohammed Airport is the most busiest airport in Africa. It's the most busiest airport in Africa. Talk about our local airport as well. When you're talking about Ikeja airport, it's the most busiest among the local airport as well. But when you are talking about Ibadan, the proximity of Ibadan to Lagos has consumed that ability. Ogun State cannot be challenging about airport all the time because the proximity to Lagos State, and people prefer to go to Lagos State because when you want to get a ticket to Lagos State, it's easy to get that ticket first and it's much cheaper because of the number of people, the kind of traffic that goes to Lagos all the time. You can be able to get 3-4 flights, even 10 flights a day. But when you are talking, I've seen a friend of mine that bought ticket for Ibadan that cannot be used so many times because they will not come. So all those is just window dressing I see.
Okay, let me ask you
and
this
white
question.
elephant project as well.
Okay, how has the removal of fuel subsidy changed the budgeting power of some states across the country?
You definitely know about that because a lot of states, like he said himself, that they are saying that we have been getting 3 times of what we are getting. Is this the same? He mentioned it himself, and that is why he is able. Before we will see Oyo State government borrowing even when they want to clean Oyo State or Ibadan, when they want to do refuse, ordinary refuse. Oyo State government is going to borrow money, but now they cannot just run to bank and say they want to borrow for anything.
Would it have been possible to have this kind of budget expansion if not for fuel subsidy removal?
It's not possible. It's not possible. We will have been seeing the borrowing mentality and the borrowing voracity of the government the way it has been done before. But now everything they are going to be able to give account, because mind you, people that are going to probe, people that are going to petition, and people that are going to take normal level are all there as well. He mentioned about local government. When local government is constructing road and you think the Oyo State is going to be taking the credit. He mentioned Lagelu, the road that is constructed in Lagelu, and it's being mentioned and is being treated to be done by the state government. He mentioned on our local government as well. For you to know that the citizen doesn't know A to B. We are just seeing a kind of Agberu system of governance and budgetary implementation.
That's a bold claim anyway.
I'm just telling you, it is when the citizen doesn't know that, that's it for me to tell you that the project that being implemented in your state is not specifically designed and citizen doesn't know how it's been done and has been carried out. For somebody like me, for a little knowledge I have, when I'm going on the road, I will check who is doing the road. Probably is Samson Balogun that is doing this kind of charity thing for the local government, and it's going to specify what he's doing. The contractor, everything is going to be specified there. But now it's not. It's the thing of the past.
Okay, now let me ask you this question very quickly. I've spoken about the budget expansion, the fuel subsidy removal. Now let's talk about how the new tax regime come January 2026 will affect every state in the country. Do you see Oyo State as one of the states that will be genuinely affected?
We cannot be affected. We are going to be tax driven because we are going to be encouraged to be doing it. A lot of things that is not well known to the people is being done by these tax officers who have exposed a lot of things. And mind you, he was talking about that taxation. There is nothing wrong with tax. Tax is the only thing you can be able to make progress or develop a country. That is why you see the dispute that is going out around the world. When you are talking about Donald Trump or the president of the United States, he is so specific about taxation. But is it regressive? Is it productive? But in the past, our taxation has always been regressive. But now, it is not going to be. Those that has are going to pay, but those that doesn't need to pay. I think it is going to be good thing that happened to your state. And a lot of us are going to jail, and we are going to tie our loose ends as well.
Now, the new tax regime says if you make more, you get more from the federal government. It is on a pay-as-you-go basis. It depends on what you make. Now, if you check the list of states that are making more money for the federal government, especially when it comes to value-added tax, you have Rivers State at the top, you have Lagos State, then followed by Rivers, and Oyo State, according to 2024 data, Oyo's VAT contribution was about 272.41 billion according to Agra policy. Now, do you think that would enable Oyo State to achieve more in terms of infrastructural development?
Exactly. Mind you, this taxation is, when you are talking about Rivers, when you are talking about Rivers is having the goodies of the oil. And when you are talking about Lagos State, it has been a system for a very long time. That is where the colony, our colonial master came, and he has sport, he has a lot of infrastructure, and there are a lot, because it was the capital of Nigeria before. He enjoyed a lot of benefit. But when like somebody was telling us sometimes ago, when Oyo State was placed third, that because Seyi Makinde is doing this, it is because of the population. Do you know the population exposure? I'm talking to you about productive population. Because when you cannot compare your state with Sokoto or Kano or Kaduna that has largest population, but you are talking about productive population who are ready to give to the government. Even when 2 naira, 3 naira, 10 naira is being taxed, we are productive. That is the advantage you are using right in Oyo State. It is not based on only salary alone. You knew a lot of people are coming here to do a lot of things. That is why when he was talking about industry, now the government that has never attracted any industry to Oluyole free trade zone is now looking for Circular Road to be the harbor of industry. It's a joke. It's a joke, because any industry that left that Oluyole trade zone is going to be taxed more. But when you are Oluyole free trade industrial zone, you are going to be given a very long tax holiday, and the lands are there for you to use. So I saw the fact that he was telling people that the corridor for the Circular Road is meant for development of industry. He must talk about the estate. For estate development that he has interest in, not industry. Because Oluyole free trade zone is there for us to be used judiciously.
That's a big accusation against the government.
It is not.
You are saying he has interest in it.
I am just saying to you. I am just saying to you, because I am not the one that it is the only government that only concentrate on estate development. It's a fact. No. But that is why I made mention to you. Oyo State have Oluyole free industrial zone. You are going to be given a lot of things, and it has been there, only God knows, probably 30-40 years. I don't know, but it's been there. A company can go there, establish, and enjoy all the goodies.
The government might just be trying to repeat the same idea.
It is not. If you are within the corridor, you are going to pay more. I am being sincere with you. The law has specified, unless he change it with the State House of Assembly. But if it has not changed, that corridor that is going to be used, that wanted to be acquired for Circular Road, he must say it is only meant for estate development.
Yesterday he mentioned that he was going to explore the option of compensation for the people on the corridor. And most definitely, some people were compensated a long time ago, while someone who had about 4-bedroom flat on the same corridor was paid for, I think, 476,000, and someone got 424,000 or thereabout as compensation. Do you think that was fair compensation, or do you think the governor should revisit his compensation policy for the people on the corridor?
It is not about the compensation. It's about the standard practice.
How about relocation?
The standard, it is not even about relocation. Listen, in a place like America, it has have a lot of slum and places that have been necessary for a very long time. And whenever they want any development to take place, it is going to be passed as law. And those people are the valuers are going to go there and value each houses. You must be able to sell if they want to. That is not for the government. That is for those who are estate developers, who want to develop a kind of specific area or land to make it more beautiful and even to be a progress to that city or community. But now, the standard practice of this Circular Road Boha has made a lot of people to realize and be able to make research. 500 meter, it is not a standard practice. It is joke. 500 meter for corridor It is a joke. Even 75 is even a joke. To now talk about 500, it's unfair. We must be sincere with ourselves. And you must know that all those who in Circular Road probably have plot of land, majority 70%. For you to know that they manage themselves to be able, because of we have crisis. When you are talking about housing crisis, federal government is taking the bold step. Oyo State is not. Other states are not. Lagos State is taking the bold step to be able to be building housing that is affordable to the people.
Do you think the government
we have mortgage bank before? Have you ever heard about mortgage bank?
Do you think
because it's not easy to build a house. For you now to say about compensation, how can you talk about compensation? The Oyo State government said it's going to pay it's going to give all those people probably about 250 million is what I had before. Now it's 2 billion. Now divided 2 billion by 420, 450. How many people is that 2 billion going to be able to take care of?
Now, if you look at the current situation of things, the governor has agreed to dialogue. Don't you think that is the way forward as regards this situation?
There is nothing wrong in dialogue. But if it has not extended and exploded like this, the government will not have taken any step at all.
Okay, in less than 1 minute before we go on this segment of the show this morning, do you think Oyo State can realistically generate the IGR needed to balance up with this current budget expansion embarked on by the governor of Oyo State without borrowing?
No, surely, because the money that is going to the post of Oyo State government is more enlarged. He mentioned it himself. And there are diverse places that is going to be able to generate income as well without borrowing. But if he is ready to borrow, he has the state assembly in his pocket that is going to do the binding. But at the end of the day, implementation is what we think about, and this budget is not the budget of productivity like he said, because I don't see anything productive in what he has said. Only the infrastructure he's talking about. I know it's going to be all these Lagodi Akitola was airport and the government house is building. When it's going any other thing, I really don't see anything that's going to happen. Okay,
do you think Oyo State is relying too heavily on federal allocation, or you think the state is diversifying enough to generate more income?
When you are talking about that diversification, is zero. He campaigned that before 3 months, he's going to be generating well enough revenue for your state without taking any hour to go and beg the federal government. And this is his 7 years. He's just taking from the center and he's borrowing. And when you are talking about borrowing, when you are talking about dependence on borrowing, is not productive enough. It brings negativities to our development in Oyo State. But now he cannot pinpoint. He has to tell story of any money he's going to borrow. But without that, like the other one, the last money that created Ibuah, it is about how he's refunding or refinancing of our debt. It wasn't about that I borrowed to do this. It was about for you to know that is collecting here is solely dependent, or your state is solely dependent in federal allocation right now. They don't have any whatever it takes. They don't have that power. They don't have that knowledge to be able to get it from other sources.
All right, Honorable Mola Jalawi, thank you for joining us in the studio this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We do really wish that the time was more than this, so we could expand more on the show. But thank you for joining us on the show. And that's where we wrap up today's edition of the Big Story. We have broken down the Oyo State 2026 budget, the increases, the priorities, and the realities behind the numbers. We have also benchmarked the shift that came after subsidy removal, a shift that now allows states to dream bigger on paper. But ultimately, budgets are not judged by their size on paper. They are judged by delivery. Will the big steps translate into visible progress? That's a big question. Will the big gaps be addressed before the slow development? And will the rising expectation of our citizens be met in 2026? In the coming months, governance, not figures, will provide the answers. Thank you for joining us on The Big Story this morning. Stay tuned for more meaningful and insightful conversations that shape public understanding. Up next is Trend Watch. Let's go on a quick break. We'll be back.